The divorce papers rested on the cold marble, a final, biting reminder of a promise shattered. Ethan didn't even look at me. His eyes were glued to his smartphone, his fingers dancing across the screen with a calculated, predatory rhythm. He wasn't just ending a marriage, he was executing a hostile takeover of my life. He placed the call, his voice dripping with practiced, venomous disdain as he addressed my father. "Mr. Prescott, you need to come collect your dead weight," he sneered, clearly relishing the humiliation. "If she is still under this roof in 30 minutes, don't blame me for how she's escorted out." I stared at the clock, the ticking sound rhythmic and steady, echoing the beating of my own heart. He thought he was the victor, the master strategist who had finally offloaded a burden. Little did he know, he was actually reading the final lines of his own tragedy. I remained silent, a calm facade masking a storm of resolve. The countdown had begun, and with every passing second, his arrogance was sealing his fate. The trap hadn't been set overnight, it was a masterpiece of patient, venomous design. Just weeks earlier, during a seemingly mundane dinner, my father had dropped the bombshell, his company was bankrupt. I was devastated, my world crumbling, but Ethan. He didn't reach for my hand. He reached for his phone. He presented himself as my savior, the husband who would weather the storm. With a display of sincerity so convincing it was almost breathtaking, he convinced me that mortgaging our penthouse was the only way to secure the capital my father needed to rebuild. He spoke of family duty and unwavering support, his eyes reflecting a faux compassion that fooled me completely. I signed every document he placed before me, blinded by the desperate hope of rescuing my family's legacy. I didn't see the quit-claim deed buried beneath the loan applications. I didn't realize that by signing my name, I was effectively signing away my home and my future. I had been seduced by the promise of protection, never suspecting that the shield was actually a cage. The transition was immediate and brutal. My home, once a sanctuary of warmth and shared dreams, curdled into a hostile landscape of petty psychological warfare. Carol, my mother-in-law, discarded her mask of refined kindness within hours. She began treating me like a menial servant, her voice a constant, grating presence demanding everything from scrubbed floors to elaborate meals. If a cup was misplaced, it was a catastrophe. If I dared to speak, I was silenced with a sneer about my ruined status. Ethan, meanwhile, perfected the art of the cold shoulder. He would retreat into his study for hours, only emerging to deliver cutting remarks about the drain my family had become on his resources. It was a calculated, daily attrition designed to erode my confidence and force a voluntary exit. Every insult was a deliberate, sharp-edged reminder that I was now an unwanted houseguest in my own property. I remained a ghost in the halls, enduring the humiliations, watching their arrogance swell, while I quietly calculated the precise moment when their walls would inevitably cave in. The air in the living room was thick with a toxic, triumphant energy. Ethan lounged on the sofa, scrolling through his phone, while Carol sipped tea with a smug, mocking smile. They were waiting for my father to arrive, expecting a broken, desperate man to come and beg for his daughter's sake. When I dialed my father's number, my hands were trembling, but my intent was clear. I needed to warn him, to prepare him for the cruelty waiting behind that door. "Dad," I whispered, my voice thick with unshed tears. "They are here, they are aggressive, and they've already insulted you." Instead of the panic I anticipated, my father's voice rang out, steady as a heartbeat and sharp as steel. "Listen to me, Sophia. Do not take one step out of that house. Stay put, and keep that door locked. I will be there in exactly 30 minutes. His composure was a shock, a sudden, chilling shift in the power dynamic. The prey had transformed into the predator. The countdown to their reckoning had officially begun. The street transformed into a theater of dominance as the motorcade pulled up, a black-clad procession that signaled the absolute end of Ethan's charade. My father stepped from the lead Rolls-Royce with an air of cold, imperial authority, accompanied by his legal team and a wall of silent bodyguards. Inside, the arrogance that had filled the penthouse just moments ago dissolved into visceral terror. Ethan and Carol stared, their faces drained of blood, as the reality of their failure struck them like a physical blow. My father sat in the center of the room, looking over the wreckage of their ambition. Mr. Jennings then laid out the legal death blow, a revocable trust that rendered every document Ethan had coerced me into signing entirely worthless. To seal their fate, a tablet was produced, playing back Ethan's own voice as he plotted to bribe a court official. Their legal victory was now a criminal confession. The silence that followed was heavy with the weight of impending destruction, the inevitable outcome of their blind, calculated greed. The eviction was a masterclass in swift, cold justice. Under the watchful eyes of my father's security team, Ethan and his mother were reduced to frantic, pathetic figures, their lives packed into cheap cardboard boxes. They were discarded from the penthouse just as they had tried to discard me. I stood silent, watching them go, feeling no malice, only a profound, hollow sense of finality. The news of their downfall rippled through our social circles like wildfire. Ethan's reputation, built on layers of deceit, shattered overnight, leaving him unemployable and destitute. I spent the following weeks in the quiet, empty halls of the penthouse, slowly purging the bitterness they had left behind. I rediscovered my voice in the blueprints of new, meaningful architectural projects, turning my focus toward building futures rather than surviving ghosts. Justice Valley stood firm, not because of the wealth we reclaimed, but because of the moral clarity we restored. I had finally learned that true power doesn't lie in what you possess, but in the unwavering strength of your own integrity.